On today's episode of WatchJRGo, we're going to talk about something pretty important. The fact that we're all losing the right to repair. What is going on, guys? I'm WatchJRGo, and today we're going to talk about right to repair for most of the video, but also to begin with, we're going to repair a couple of things because they're great examples of what right to repair is. So first, we have my 2017 Chevy Volt. A couple days ago, we did some troubleshooting and we figured out that the wiper pump had failed. Now that wiper pump is one of those transition period parts that in the future may be much harder to repair than it is today. As we move forward and cars get more complex, but also less complex at the same time, the electrical and data distribution systems become better and better and better. The actual logic for every part moves into the part. Now in reality, it's where it belongs, but the communication between the car and those parts is where we as consumers are slowly losing a lot of this battle. So in the future, maybe say Cybertruck future here, where everything moves to 48 volts and relays and power distribution boxes, all that stuff, it adds a lot of complexity. Those are expensive. What they'll end up doing is making each individual part a bit more expensive and moving the logic onto, say, the wiper pump itself. So the old school wiper pump, window motor, whatever it is, there's a million examples on every car of some simple 12 volt activated motor. Well, right now you can see it just has 12 volt power in, a relay activates it, after a switch activates the relay, and it pumps washer fluid. But in the future, that switch will just send some data to the body control module, and that will send like a CAN bus message down a data line, and that pump will always have power, and there will be a message on the CAN bus that says something like start washer pump, and all the logic will be in here. There will be at least 4 pins on the pump, and after that, the washer will pump. But when it breaks, it's gonna be a lot harder to troubleshoot, and it's getting harder every day. I get that it might take 10 years before we get to CAN bus activated washer pumps, but I promise you guys, it's coming. Look where we're at with full steer-by-wire. All the window conversations now are going over CAN bus. The car knows the position of everything, and it's really great if you have access to the tools to troubleshoot the car. But a lot of times, more and more frequently, we are losing access to those tools and the data. So we'll keep talking about this, but first, let's stick this thing back in because it should be a very, very simple fix. So simple that I'm not gonna jack the car up and I'm just gonna do it blind. I think I can reach up inside here. Also, I did just grab the hose and empty the entire washer tank over and over and over. It's been flushed and flushed. Oops. I put the under tray back on. I gotta take one bolt out. We finally have it fixed. Look at that. I'm definitely gonna sit in the car while we pump all this water out of here. Hey, there it is. She's empty. Boy, that makes me happy. For the first time, everything on this car works since the day I bought it. As you guys know, no video would be complete without an O'Reilly's run, so we're here just to pick up washer fluid today, the easiest job of all time. So we're gonna grab a bottle of fluid, fill that thing back up, and that thing's finally done. Washer fluid acquired. Let's go fill this thing up. Get to fix it in the parking lot for once. Now sure, we got the Volt fixed and out of the shop, but it's not really a good example of right to repair. That's more of, we understand how DC systems work, so we can brute force troubleshoot that with a meter because, you know, it's just basic electronics knowledge. There's really nothing to that. Proper troubleshooting, or at least maybe easier troubleshooting, would have been just hopping on the internet, being able to find the service manual as a PDF and working from there, because it would tell us, you know, where the switch connects to what relay and what color wire each wire is in the harness, and that is like proper right to repair. Just having the data at your fingertips, or, you know, maybe just existing in general, so you can work on something like that. And a lot of times that stuff is, I don't want to call it gatekeeping, price gated, something like that. You have to pay thousands, like $3,000 a year for Mitchell All Data, something like that, so you can get access to the service manuals just to work on something like, you know, most modern cars. That is already a far cry from where we used to be as a society. If you guys have been around for a little bit, maybe you've worked on old radios, TVs, any old electronics, the wiring diagram was always in the device. There'd be like a pouch inside the back of a TV, and you'd pull it out, unfold it, boom, wiring diagram. It came with it. So if something broke, you knew how to fix it. You didn't have to send it into a service center that is probably just throwing the device in the trash and sending you a refurb. We're still getting to the real point of why we're losing the right to repair battle. But I've got one more example. This is the ultimate example of right to repair. Walker, made in the USA, obviously in Fort Collins, Colorado, a local company, and all of their stuff just kind of lasts forever. You still see Walkers that were built in the 80s out there rocking and rolling. Most of them are at least in the 2000s like this one, but they're, you know, they just keep running forever. And the entire service manual for every mower they've ever made is on their website for free. That's how it should be. And those service manuals should be accessible. And they don't have to be free. I mean, the library could buy them. When I was a kid, we'd go with my dad, we'd go to the library in downtown Wichita and check out any book we wanted for any GM product ever made. They had all the service manuals, just racks of them. And libraries don't do that anymore either, let's be honest. They don't have a lot of people checking out service manuals because most people just aren't repairing their own stuff. So I guess that's probably another reason right to repair is disappearing, because people aren't working on their stuff, so nobody needs to carry the service manuals. So it's just, it all does tie together. But the Walker is the best example of something you can repair. And we're gonna fix it real quick. The blades came out of sync. I mentioned it to you guys before. Let me show you. Remember I told you the blades have to be perpendicular to each other because they're gearbox driven. The PTO comes up here to the PTO splitter and then it runs each direction. Well, unfortunately, this came loose, the little plate right there that centers it. And now the blades run into each other and the blades cut themselves in half. You guys ever seen a lawnmower blade cut itself in half? Oh yeah, big old chunks. It even got in the metal over here on the guard. But to fix it, we're gonna throw those in the trash real quick. It should just take about 10 seconds. And it was only 60 bucks for brand new ones. So I needed new ones anyway. I'm not complaining at all. Plus I was mowing the neighbor's yard just so all the stripes between the yards would line up. And that's when it happened, and he was giving me money. So covered the blades. That's how it's supposed to work right there. The blades are held on by F202, a 1024 by 5/8 stainless steel screw, grade 5. And those 2 screws are missing from each blade. They sheared off. So I picked those back up, and $4 later, it's gonna mow again. I mean, not including the blades, but I needed blades. That's how repair should work, and that's also how service manuals should look too. Take notes, car manufacturers. We should know what every fastener is without having to get out the thread pitch gauge or anything like that. Just open the manual and be like, oh, it should be an M8. Nope, we usually have to go figure it out. Okay, the bolt's finished, the Walker's finished, the front yard is mowed. So now we can get on to the crux of the issue here, how we are losing the right to repair battle. So in 2012, Massachusetts passed what we call the Right to Repair Act, which basically lets us, it ensures that we have access to the diagnostic data from our vehicles, which has always been the case since 1996 when OBD2 was federally mandated. It's been incredibly easy to connect to our vehicles, diagnose them, and figure out what's wrong with them in just a matter of seconds. We've got generic codes, we've got manufacturer codes, and from the DTCs we can pull from the diagnostic connector on the car, we can pretty much figure out what's going on with it in a matter of seconds, anytime, anywhere in the world. Some cars have OBD2 diagnostics literally built into the cluster, and then the future got closer and closer. And when I say the future got closer and closer, it was the manufacturers slowly becoming more connected and more integrated into the car with things like OnStar. Obviously, OnStar was an amazing utility when it came out that would let you automatically dial emergency services, maybe give GM some feedback about what was going on with the car, and then everyone else kind of kept jumping on the bandwagon. Every single car that is made today, I don't really think there's any exceptions, has cellular connectivity back to the manufacturer. And it's kind of cool. It enables a lot of cool things like wireless OBD. So if something goes wrong with your car, say like my Ford truck, check engine light comes on, probably a couple minutes later you have an email saying something's going on with your truck. Maybe you should go talk to the dealer. And we don't need to talk to the dealer today, right? We have Right to Repair. We'll grab our diagnostic tool, plug it into the vehicle, and we'll figure out what's wrong, and we can clear the codes and we can keep troubleshooting from there. And obviously, I get it, there's privacy downsides, but it's 2024. We haven't really had any privacy for a long time, so we're just gonna put all of the privacy aspects aside for now. All we need to talk about is the fact that in 2020, Massachusetts passed an update to the right to repair bill that required manufacturers to keep giving us access to the diagnostic data from the vehicle, even as they move towards wireless OBD and always-on diagnostics. But the NHTSA has overridden that now with basically a statement that says, if you think the vehicle could be hacked into, this is a statement to the manufacturers, don't worry about the consumers. So just think about that for a second. If there's a chance that there could be a security issue, they can just take away all of our access to the diagnostic connector and our access to being able to work on the vehicle, honestly. They can block us from that and make it a dealer or manufacturer only option. So that is absolutely insane. And that's not even the worst part. The worst part is that it's kind of been trending this way for a little bit with absolutely diabolical things like Chrysler's Secure Gateway, where now you have to have a subscription that you're paying, I think, $200 a year, maybe more, so you can unlock the gateway, which is all the computers in the car feed into the gateway. It's kind of been like that forever. It used to be a whole bunch of devices on like a chain, and as time moved on and we had more and more CAN bus, you need all the CAN buses to land in one place, and then you have to be able to scan that one place. Now Chrysler has locked us out of that effectively unless you pay their ransom. And it's not even their ransom, it's like a third-party company that does the authentication, that sits between the manufacturer and your diagnostic tool. But you can scan the car. I think you can scan all of them. People say that you can't access it at all. You can usually get the codes, but you usually are not allowed to clear the codes without Secure Gateway access. And that's absolutely insane. To get Secure Gateway, you're probably already using a very high-end diagnostic tool like my Autels that might have cost you something like $4,000, just so you can get onto the website where you make the connection to the Secure Gateway software and then connect to the vehicle. So Chrysler's already been out there trying to make sure that we're all handicapped and it's hard to work on our own vehicles. And they make a lot of stuff if you think about it. You got the actual Chrysler, Ram, Jeep, Maserati, everything under their control has that Secure Gateway, and you're probably paying just so you can work on the car. So that is the state of right to repair today, and it just seems like every day we lose a little bit more of it, even though we had a lot of momentum as consumers to try to roll this stuff back and give us access to service manuals and software and anything that we need to actually fix the vehicle. And it's just unfortunate we don't have more companies like Walker that are out there giving you everything you need, all the information, and just saying, go fix it. The NHTSA has enabled the automakers to block us from working on our own vehicles, to force you to go to the dealership, so the dealership makes a bunch of money on service because they're not making a bunch of money on the vehicle sales. That's where the manufacturers make their money. And this whole thing was probably just a big lobbying push to make sure that the gravy train kept flowing. At the end of the day, they just don't want us fixing our vehicles, they want you replacing them, which is super unfortunate when we're at a time in history when every car can pretty much go like 150,000 miles with no maintenance. Absolutely insane, just oil changes. Things have gotten crazy reliable. The expectation of reliability is out of control these days, and for the most part, we just don't see serious issues until 150,000 miles. Cars just run. Usually at this point in the video is where you say contact your senators and representatives and make your voice heard so that we can preserve our right to repair. But it doesn't seem like the government has our back here at all. In fact, obviously they just overrode the Massachusetts law for right to repair. And this was framed as Biden's NHTSA circumvents right to repair, but the previous administration didn't have our back either on this. And I don't think any other administration going forward ever will. I think it's a pretty cut and dry case of we're not going to be working on stuff anymore, which is one reason I love EVs so much, because it takes us back to a much simpler time when everything's simple. It's like one motor, maybe four motors, a few motors, a motor controller, and a battery, and the rest of it's just simple. And the reliability on EVs is absolutely insane. So we can probably just give up on our right to repair for ICE vehicles. It's the writing's on the wall, it's been there for a long time, and this is just another nail in the coffin. So Now you know what's going on and you know what to expect going forward. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchjrgo.com for cool shirts just like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. No matter how much access you lose to diagnostic tools that are built into the vehicle, just know that you can still brute force troubleshoot just about anything on the planet. You know what a rod knock sounds like. You know how to look at oil and see if there's glitter in it. There's manual boost gauges. There's so many ways to figure out what's going on with engines. So if you don't have like a basic understanding of DC systems, learn them, I guess. Just go play with 9-volt batteries and car batteries. Maybe don't play with car batteries. And be careful with 9-volt batteries because they'll burn it's the most dangerous battery on the planet, honestly, is a 9-volt battery. But just a basic knowledge of DC systems will go a long way. A lot of mine came from just growing up playing with small electronics, LEDs, motors, and batteries, things like that, and then moved into car audio. Car audio is a great springboard, although car audio is completely dead. Let's be honest, you very, very rarely ever need to change a head unit. The factory audio systems in cars are basically flawless now, so another thing that it's hard for people to experience is building car audio systems. There's just no reason to do it for the most part, so why would you have a great understanding of how they work? I don't know. That is it for today, guys. Thank you. Cool. Love that.